Now that we've powered back, welcome back to some more Scrap Mechanic Survival. I'm StormRunner Gaming, and today I am here with two lumberjack bots I've built. One being the best one I've ever built, and one being the worst bot I've ever built, really. And I'm going to jump into this really long one first, because most of you out there are probably thinking this is the best bot I've ever built to take down some trees. It's got that arm on the front to cut up the trees, you know, pull them down and all that, but as you can see, with us running out of fuel here, there's a few problems with it, and that's why it is the worst lumberjacking bot I've ever built. So let's actually show what it can do real quick. I mean, it does still work, but definitely has a few problems to it. Its maneuverability is sincerely lacking due to it having probably no maneuverability, due to it being probably the length of a football field here. I think you actually measured it one day and it was something like 200 or 300 blocks. And you may be thinking I'm crazy for having it such a long bot here, but the main reason why it is so long is so that we are able to grab onto these big trees here. As you can see, once we pull up to them, we're able to grab on with those two little arms there, and we should be able to pull it back into the bot here. We gotta make sure we have that 4 button ready. So cut the saws and then lean it back. And we should be able to get, we messed it up just a little bit. So alright, one failed attempt down. Let's just clear the intake from that. And let's find ourselves another tree to cut down here. Come on. And all this time we are wasting just a bit of fuel. I'll have to say this bot is half decent at taking out these pine trees over here though. So we can grab one of these on our way around. Let's put that up. And we want to grab it because these guys don't have any branches and they're not that heavy. Originally I designed it for this, but I made the intake a little bit bigger so that I could take on the big trees. And the big trees are a catch-22 if they actually do fall into the intake or not. Anyway, let's get this show on the road here. So we want to hit that 2 button to cut the tree down, and then bring it down with 4, and that's how it's supposed to work. As you can see, it goes down, and once it does sit vertically on that little platform there, we're able to kind of shimmy it forward with our piston pushers back there. They are getting a little bit in the way, but there we go. As you can see, it works decently well half the time. And then we've got the saws, and this little area in the back that processes everything up. And then we've got the refinery as well that kind of, you know, moves everything along. And we can keep this process going just about all day until we run out of fuel, which probably will be a minute or two from now. Considering driving out into the woods took probably half our fuel, I'm betting. Excuse me. A little bit of a stutter there, but as you can see, we can process a tree pretty well with this, but it's definitely got its disadvantages. I know it is a pretty large vehicle, and having the refinery on the rear end is heavy, but even so, I've tried it without the refinery and everything, and this vehicle is so inefficient in using fuel, it's just unpractical to be able to cut down a large forest of trees. And that's why I kind of say it is the worst lumberjack mod, or not the mod, lumberjack bot I've ever made. And that's why this little guy up here is the best one ever. Although it doesn't process anything itself, we do have the other vehicle over there that can, you know, transport a ton of lumber around. So let's take this guy out and show you why he is the best lumberjacking bot I've got. You can probably already tell as we're driving down the street, it doesn't run off of a gas engine. You don't hear much of anything. It's actually running off of full electric engines. Even the saws are electric engines down there, which I know I can't exactly go around and swim for batteries to, you know, replenish my supply here, but still, warehouse raids and everything else keeps me with a pretty good supply of batteries I wanted to use up. That, and you guys will see how efficient this thing is, and it's kind of crazy how well this thing can cut down trees while using basically little to no batteries. And you're probably seeing my genius right now in making it so tall, but it's so that we can kind of go over all of the trees and just cut them up underneath us. And it does a pretty good job. I call this the kind of lawnmower sawing right now. But we even have a lower ability to that as well. And the front end saw on this guy is so that we can cut down trees ourselves. So we don't need that other bot over there to cut down anything. That, and it does help a little bit with processing stuff in front of the main saws in the middle here. So this thing actually is very fast at cutting up trees. Probably helps in its efficiency in using such little battery to get things done here. And this tree in total gives us something like 300 to 400 wood, depending on how many sections you pick up. I think it is 300 something, although I'm not entirely sure on that. Let's get that last little section done. I will have to say I do want to do an upgrade to this eventually, maybe creating its own trailer or something with storage in our refinery, but that might be an upgrade for later. I don't know how powerful this engine can actually pull stuff. It is an electric engine, so it is pretty decent at, torque and whatnot, but I only have it on front wheel drive right now for efficiency's sake, because I have a sneaking suspicion Scrap Mechanic bases its efficiency off of how many bearings you have connected to, as well as just other generic, abilities like weight of the vehicle and stuff it has to get moving, but I might do more testing on that later. Alright, I did also want to show off that the bot can, well, of course, cut off its own trees here. So that's why I did add that front saw on there. So once we knock it down, whatever tree we want to attack here, not exactly attack, but just chop up, we need to get over it. Apparently my poor driving today isn't very helping me. Hello, Betsy. I thought you were probably one of the brothers of that cow in there. Alright, let's cut up a tree here. Turn on that saws, and anything close to the ground, I did add another set of pistons so that it is a bit closer to the ground there. And especially for smaller trees, that number 4 button there with the pistons that push down do help to get to that. I really should put just about all of this on one single button so I don't have to press everything here, but I guess there are some occasions when I want to only turn on one saw, or not exactly one saw, only turn on one set of pistons for one specific reason, so I probably will leave everything kind of just spread out. But as you can see, this system chews through some trees, and I've done, 2 trees now? Although I didn't knock down the first one, it's still, we processed it all the way. We've used 2 battery. That's all. And that other truck used probably 20 gallons, if not more. This thing is insanely efficient. So, I don't know. I rest my case on this being one of the best lumberjack bots I've ever created. So I am going to be ripping this guy up pretty soon. I'm thinking I'm going to take all the resources from this guy I've dedicated to this machine here and probably throw it towards something pretty light and agile to take down some rocks. Because right now the only thing that can actually cut up rocks is my transport vehicle, which I don't really think I should have cutting up rocks and stuff. Because, yeah, it's not great. That, and I have to steal the motor out of my truck to run the drills here, so yeah, I probably should dedicate a vehicle to cutting up some rocks. And I might make something, I don't know. I'm thinking something, yet again, pretty light, but maybe revolutionize an idea. Something like this. Maybe something that can go over the rocks and probably cut them up as much as humanly possible so I don't have to hit them with the hammer anymore. We'll see how that goes in the future, though. We do, of course, have to go out and pick up all that lumber now. So this vehicle actually is quite efficient, even though it does weigh a bit with the 4 storages on the back end. It still can haul a ton of stuff and keep some fuel in the tank. All we really have to do to start processing some logs here is drop all these crates in front of the refinery. I did have a second refinery, but I put it back on the back end of that guy there so that he could refine stuff on the go. That's how I originally designed it, but alright, now that should chew through just about everything. But anyway, that is where I will be ending this episode. So of course, if you guys like this, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel to stay up with Scrap Mechanic Survival Saturdays and more of my content. But I've never been great at goodbyes, but people need me, and I need to go.